Boy, I tell you, if you make these 5 insurance closing mistakes, you will go broke. And the reason I'm putting this video together is to give you the guidance and advice to close with confidence and competence so that you get as many of your insurance policy closes done so you get paid and you help more people. Greetings and salutations. My name is David Duford. I own Duford Insurance Group, where I train and recruit agents nationally to sell final expense Medicare annuities and ACA. I invite you to go to davidduford.com/FAQ if you're looking for a new home or a home, your first home, to sell insurance, to see how we work, and to see if what we do is a good fit. So we're going to jump right into the 5 biggest mistakes that insurance agents make when closing. I train lots of agents nationally in my insurance agency. I have the privilege of listening to a lot of agents close deals in person and over the phone, and the mistakes we're about to go through are very common, and I want to make sure I tell them to you so you don't have to make them, so you can get some more success out of the business. So we're going to go over to the whiteboard. We're going to go over those mistakes right now. All right, number 1 issue is just simply having the courage to close. This is so fundamentally important that I figured we have to start with this. Again, one of the things that I don't get it, but I gotta tell you, is a lot of people will go through the entirety of the sales process, and when it comes down to asking for the deal, the person doesn't do it. It's simple. If you've gone through a sales presentation and they've shown interest and they want to buy, you got to ask them to buy from you. So number 1, guys, please make sure, no matter what kind of close you do, even if it's a weak close or a strong close, we're going to make it strong as you listen to this, just have the courage to ask for the deal. Again, people know and have the capacity to make a decision today, and if you don't ask them, they won't buy because they don't know what to do next. So again, ask for the deal. What's the worst they can do? Tell you no? Well, then we've got a strategy to overcome that later, of course, with some objection rebuttal training. But understand, you guys, if you're going to do this business, you have to get them to take action today. So now that we know to actually have the courage to ask for the sale, we need to not just ask for the sale, we need to actually assume the sale. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys get so much more advantage if you actually assume the person's going to buy. But Dave, my mommy raised me to be a polite person. We're in a civilized society. I know, but you're not in a setting of a normal outcome where you're just talking to some random dude on the street. You're talking and helping somebody to buy, and the truth is people don't want to spend their money. They're cheap. They don't want to go through something. They want to put it off later. That's how we all are in some respect or fashion. Your job as a salesperson is to get people to take action today, and assuming they're going to helps inspire them and give themselves momentum to make that decision to buy. So when you're closing, ladies and gentlemen, it's very simple. You don't say, "Do you want to buy for me, please?" No. You say, "Which one of these options do you want to start with today? What sounds best to get going today?" Notice I didn't ask him, "Do you want to buy?" I assumed it. And of course, I'm civilized and I'm a polite person. I gave them the choice of what to buy. But you have to give them a choice, but the choices must be yeses. And you have to assume that. Tip number 3 is you got to justify emotion with logic. You see, when you're at the close, it is an emotional situation. They know they're going through a process where they need what it is that you got, but they have these kind of bubbling concerns coming up to the forefront. Should I just put this off yet again? So what you have to do is help them reason with themselves that this emotion to solve this problem is logically justifiable. So a lot of the things I like to say in my closing script is to tie back to the things that they expressed as being an issue, and then also tie in some what I would call folkisms to kind of get that logical part of the brain to agree that yes, okay, it makes sense logically to proceed. So a couple of examples I like to do in the closing. I like to say, "So Mrs. Jones, bottom line, here's the thing. Here's the 3 options. These options are going to solve for your concerns about taking care of your final expenses. You expressed to me earlier you don't want your daughter to pay for this like you had to have paid for your mom's death. this program, one of these three options, is going to give you the peace of mind you deserve. And like you said, let's be honest, we're all getting older. The price is just going to go up. And if you start a plan today, you don't have to worry about this anymore. So which one of these three options do you want to start with today? So again, notice how I said those kind of folkisms. We're not getting any younger. We're all going to die one day, right? And then I tied it back to those emotional issues that she had expressed earlier. Again, making sure that she was reminded of the problem and how we can solve that problem and why it's a logical reason to do so. Number 4, guys, is objections will happen. A lot of agents, they think bad things happen to other people. They don't think that they're going to experience the same old tired objections that every single salesperson gets on the face of the planet. Oh, I need to think about it. Oh, I need to pray about it. Oh, I need to talk to my kids. Oh, I need to talk to my pet rock before I make a decision. Ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna get objections, and the best thing you can do is practice and expect that they will happen to you. So when you're closing, don't think that you're special. Expect them to say one of those silly objections and be ready with a logical and strategically competent objection rebuttal scheme to overcome it so that you can still close the deal anyway. And again, I know you're going to ask, so let's go over what a good objection rebuttal sounds like. If somebody tells me I need to think about it, I'm going to use the strategy of ask, which is A, answer the objection, S, sell why they should buy it anyway, and C, remember to close still in order to continue the process and momentum so that they will buy. So if somebody says, hey, let me think about it, I'm going to say, Mrs. Jones, hey, look, I understand why you need to think about it, but here's why you need to do this today. You had told me earlier you don't want to be a burden to your daughter like your mother was to you. You know one day you're going to pass away, and each day that you wait, you might get sicker, you might not be able to afford this, and you'll be in a position where you're going to harm your daughter if you don't take care of this. The good news is we can get started with a plan today that will give you total peace of mind. It fits your budget. You'll be so happy you did this. So bottom line, Mrs. Jones, which ones do you want to start with today? All right, number 5 on here, of course, you can't see the whole thing on the screen because I'm an idiot when it comes to technology. And that's overcomplicating the post-sale or after you've asked the closing situation, right? So one of the things you want to do when you ask the closing question, they're like, I want to pick the middle one. You don't talk about something else like, oh, I'm going to talk about this instead, and I'm going to go back to something else they were talking about, go back to rapport building. Like, no, you're in the moment where the client has made a decision. You then say, great, who do you want your beneficiary to be? Other things that happen a lot in the post-sale sequence is that people make things more difficult than they should. So for example, one of the things in final expense that really irritates me is that people will start to offer different kinds of coverage, or more commonly like, hey, we could do a quarterly or semi-annual payment. And people start to get more options to then have to decide upon. And with more complexity, with more options means more complexity, which ultimately means that you're not going to get the sale like you think you should. So the solution is, guys, when they say yes, take the freaking order. Go into the application and get the person approved. Don't get off of that straight line to the completion of the application. You still got to get them qualified, but stop the nonsense, get to the close, and get them approved so you can help put a policy on the books. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this compelling and technologically advanced training on how to avoid the 5 most common mistakes when insurance agents are closing. In all truthfulness, despite the silly whiteboard that I just used to try out, I don't know what you think about it. It's true. These are big mistakes that people make. And again, I'm going to go over them with you real quick. Because again, you got to have the courage to close. If you don't have courage, people just don't say, here's my money. I mean, 1 or 2 may out of 100. But you have to have the leadership to drive them to the close. Number 2, you got to assume they're going to take it. There's leadership and kind of this kind of alpha frame thing that happens when you assume you're going to get what you want. And you're assuming they're going to take it from you too. Based on your terms, and you're going to get more sales because of it. Number 3, you got to justify the emotion with logic. People are going to try to talk themselves out of making emotional decisions. And when you help them understand that that emotion is justified by a real logical need, they're going to be more compelled and more in agreement of buying right now. Number 4, Expect objections. It doesn't mean you're not going to get the sale. It just means there's going to be some pushback. So prepare in your training to handle objections in a positive way with enthusiasm that gets people to make that commitment. And number 5, don't make closing complicated after the sale. Ask which beneficiary they want. Get to the application. Don't go through a lot of other options. Make it as straight line as possible to the end, because you deserve to get paid and your clients deserve to get coverage in force. If you want to learn more about joining DeFord Insurance Group, simply head on over to davidduford.com/FAQ to learn more. And thanks so much for watching.